which leads to the segue of the other triangle.
Yeah.
What's the other triangle that we want to be in?
So this triangle is called the empowerment triangle.
Ooh, yes. So we got the drama triangle, which is an ineffective way of handling conflict. And now we're going to talk about an effective way of handling conflict. So hopefully you've drawn one triangle, labeled it the drama triangle, with the persecutor, the victim, and the rescuer. Okay. Now let's replace those words in those places with somebody that you can turn into that would really help to resolve conflict.
To thank Maxwell Construction for sponsoring the Rock Solid Families podcast. For over 30 years, Maxwell Construction has been a leader in turning dreams into realities, building schools, banks, restaurants, and many other commercial and public facilities. Maxwell Construction has made it their priority to not just build buildings, but to build into their community. So if you have any construction needs, call them at 812-537-2200.
Welcome to the Rock Solid Family podcast. I am Linda Hutchinson here with our coach, Meredith Scudder. Hi, Meredith.
Hello.
And we're missing someone.
We are. I'm in the master seat
you
today.
You are in the master seat, yes. Although you did say that your headphones need a little adjusting because I liked how you say it, your kindness was your head's a little smaller.
Yeah.
AKA Merle's head's a little bigger.
Yeah, facts.
You know, it's kind of funny how he kind of ditched us, ghosted us on this subject. And I think it's kind of funny. What do you think?
Yeah. A little, maybe ironic.
Ironic.
We'll see.
Yeah. He doesn't think he deals with any drama. And our title today of our show is Drama, Drama, Drama. And so it does seem that it's a lot of times more often with women than guys.
Yes.
I don't know what's your experience. Do you think guys have drama?
Another word for drama would be conflict. I think we all have conflict. So
True.
It's funny that Merle avoided this one.
Because a lot of times guys will just avoid, right?
Yeah.
That's how they handle conflict. They just avoid it. Or a lot of times on the other extreme of that, they'll just explode. And that's where you'll have I remember being a teacher and, little kids would have fights on the playground, and literally knock down, drag out. But then the next day they're all playing basketball together.
Right.
It's like they just push each other down and punch and then they're good. So
yeah, females like to stay within it, I think.
Exactly.
Some, I should say.
Thus the title of our show, Drama, Drama, Drama. So yes, it is dealing with any kind of conflict, and no, you don't have to be a woman to get something out of this show. So tell us a little bit, Meredith, about where this subject came from and how it applies to what you've done in the past.
So yeah, when I worked in the wilderness, you're with a group of guys or girls. I was primarily with the girls, about eight to 10 students living together in the woods. And this would be a topic we would teach kind of right away to help them see their role within conflict. So yeah, what we're going to be talking about, it's called the drama triangle.
Ooh,
yeah.
So good. Yeah. And so we have team meetings every week and we talk about different situations that we're dealing with and what tools we can use to help. And one of the tools that you've introduced recently is the drama triangle. And it was like, ooh, that is fascinating. And so we have been on the subject of conflict, especially family drama a lot. If you've been not watching our shows, you need to go back, and we've talked a lot about that. But, this particular show, we're really dealing with how do we deal with conflict when we feel like we're stuck in it and wallowing in it, and then what can we do to get out of that and really remove ourselves from that drama triangle that we find ourselves in. So I just thought this was so fascinating, and I'm thankful, Meredith, to have you on staff. I was just bragging on you yesterday with a family that we are so blessed to have. Someone, as you mentioned, been working in the wilderness and working with teens and adolescents and really dealing with a lot of trauma and attachment and things. And so you've brought that into the office, and I've seen just amazing work. I know it can be hard and frustrating at times.
Yes, I can. But I guess that's what comes with the job, right?
Yeah, it's been a rough couple days, but we know that God is the ultimate rescuer. He is the ultimate savior of the world. We are not, and so sometimes we kind of go into those roles when that's not really our job.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know? So, but before we go into any more of that, we want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions and Maxwell Construction for their support of what we're doing here on the Rock Solid Families podcast, as well as our ministry, Rock Solid Families. And so if you don't know who we are, if you just stumbled on us because you Googled drama, then we really encourage you to go to rocksolidfamilies.org to see what we do. We are a faith-based coaching organization in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio area. And we've been doing podcasting for 5 years and working with families in our office in St. Leon, Indiana for the last 5 years. So, get to know us and click subscribe, like our show, share our show, because that's the only way we get these messages out. So Meredith, tell me a little bit of background of where the drama triangle came from.
So a smart guy, right? Stephen
This isn't a Meredith
Cartman.
idea?
It's not a Meredith idea. Do not take the credit. But Stephen Cartman created this model to help us see like social conflict. And as we all know, a triangle with 3 points. So there's 3 roles that are involved within this social conflict. Mm-hmm. So those 3 roles, which we'll go into more detail.
Yeah.
But that's the persecutor, the victim, and the rescuer.
So what we're doing right now is we are going into the drama triangle, which is really the ineffective way, right, to deal with conflict. It's the way we see out in society, in our culture, in our families, in our workplaces and stuff like that we tend to kind of be attracted to or get stuck in, right?
Right. Yeah. So if you're finding yourself constantly in drama or in conflict, there's a good chance you are in one of these roles. And the thing is, you can find yourself switching into the different roles within the same situation.
Wow. That fascinated me. So say that again. So you're saying that we don't always just get stuck in a particular role, that we can literally switch those roles within a conflict?
Correct.
So give me an example of what you're talking about.
Well, and I guess I want to say, I do think, depending on the type of person we are, we can find ourselves like more in a certain role than others.
Yeah.
Like I could say I'm probably more of rescuer or victim. But if you have, and this will probably make more sense as we go through and describe each role.
Yeah.
But, the persecutor, the bully, they're going to be attacking the victim. Victim then is rescued by the rescuer. And I've seen then the bully flip and become victim. So it's like once somebody's calling them out, then they're like, hey, like, why are you attacking me? I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what? Like they get that look like, I don't understand what you're upset about.
Yeah,
I'm
not doing anything. It's like, what the heck?
You're
literally
just
started
overreacting.
this.
You're just overreacting, I'm just kidding. I get that a lot. I just kidding, right?
So then the victim then can turn into the bully, right? Because then start attacking because it's like, what the heck? No, you were just criticizing me.
Oh, and they kind of feed into each other, don't they? It's like, it's just kind of, it's this muck of drama and conflict that never seems to dissipate or disappear because it's like we just feed the fire of conflict.
Yeah,
right?
which then again, it perpetuates that cycle and you're stuck in this drama. It's like,
I think I know which one I usually am. But okay, let's go over each one. So I would get a piece of paper out. Honestly, I love when people come and respond back to us and let us know, like, hey, we took notes. This would be a great show to take notes because it is going to be interesting which one you kind of navigate toward. And so the first one is the persecutor.
yes. So
AKA bully.
AKA the bully. Yeah, so this role is pretty aggressive, demanding. They'll be criticizing and blaming others, really putting others down. This role can also look like judgmental and controlling.
Yeah, and I have a feeling the people that are listening have somebody already in mind. Like as you're speaking that, I'm thinking of people in my life who I really feel like were the bully, right? So maybe that's you. Maybe you can't look in the mirror. Maybe you have someone else in mind. So the persecutor is one person in this drama triangle. Then who? The victim?
The victim. Yep. So the victim, I always think of Eeyore. Even though I love Eeyore so much.
Nothing will ever change. This is just the way it is for me.
But then that speaks to my character as the rescuer because I love him so much. And I'm just like,
I want to help him. Yeah. Exactly. So tell me a little bit more. The victim obviously is kind of feeling helpless.
Yeah, helpless, hopeless. They think they're powerless and incapable. Very needy and unwilling to take responsibility for what goes on in their life. So
we will have a lot of victims come in our office, and they kind of want us to fix someone else, or they want to like validate their victimhood. And so when we call them out of that, they don't like that sometimes, because it's like, what? Like, I can't do anything about it, you know? And it's like, yes, you can. So we're going to get to what we want to turn into instead of the victim. But I have to be careful not to be this next person, because this is my character, is to be the rescuer. Tell me about the rescuer.
Yeah, so the rescuer being the helper, the meddler, putting themselves in situations that they don't necessarily need to be in.
Hey, now. You might be Merle. See, Merle wanted to stay out of this, I think, because I think he would have been sitting there going, you know. And so it is hard, because I stick my nose in business that doesn't belong, and I just need to keep my mouth shut.
Well, and, you know, this one too, the rescuer, they seek value by being needed.
Okay. My toes are hurting.
I mean, I'm in the same boat, Linda. I mean, gosh, it's hard.
Yeah. But then I find myself flipping into the victim role. Like when I've not been able to sit down because I've been busy all day helping other people. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. And Merle's like, well, you set your schedule. Like, you're the one that invited all these people over and didn't have them bring a thing. Well, then, you know, I'm trying to like save everybody and keep them from having to make things. And then I'm so tired, and I turn into the victim, like, oh gosh, I'm so tired, you know?
Right.
So it's when you neglect your own needs for the sake of others. Is this kind of the people pleaser, or I don't know? Would that fit in there too?
Yeah, I think you could. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, kind of, you know, trying to fix things, do things to kind of compensate, or, you know, keep the conflict from blowing up, I guess. Yeah. So these three are typical conflict responses, none of them healthy.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, it perpetuates the conflict.
Yes, I've seen that before.
I think now that we've kind of gone over what each of those roles are, you could see how they could feed into each other. So we talked how, like, the victim, they're really needy. They don't take responsibility. And then where the rescuer comes in, they feel valued when they're needed. So that dynamic can just continue on, because it's like, oh, I feel significant and have purpose if I'm stepping in and rescuing this person. Yeah. But at the same time, you know, the rescuer, it's providing temporary relief. It's not actually solving anything.
Oh my gosh. Can you say that again? That is so important, because like I've had to learn that this is only temporary when we come in to rescue, right?
Right. So that enabling the victim.
Oh my gosh. We are speaking to every adult with an adult child who is in a bad place, and the adults, out of their own, you know, need to be needed, are coming in to rescue and to enable some really bad behavior, because they don't want to see them suffer or struggle, right? And we do more harm than good, don't we, by continuing to come in and rescue, and we provide temporary relief, but no long-term gain. Yeah. And we wonder why our adult child keeps taking advantage of us, or doesn't appreciate us, or keeps the bad behavior, because we've not helped empower them, which leads to the segue of the other triangle.
Yeah.
What's the other triangle that we want to be in?
So this triangle is called the empowerment triangle.
Ooh, yes. So we got the drama triangle, which is an ineffective way of handling conflict. And now we're going to talk about an effective way of handling conflict. So hopefully you've drawn one triangle, labeled it the drama triangle, with the persecutor, the victim, and the rescuer. Okay. Now let's replace those words in those places with somebody that you can turn into that would really help to resolve conflict.
Yeah, so rather than the persecutor, we want to step in and be a challenger. So rather than putting people down and criticizing, building them up. I also like to think of this as constructive criticism, acknowledging where people can grow. Acknowledging the qualities in people to help them grow, right?
Yeah. You're more of an encourager than a criticizer. And so, again, I'm going to use my phrase that I use all the time, and I just did it in session today. You know, unsolicited advice is always taken as criticism. So especially if you're dealing with an adult, for you to go in and try to bully them to change or try to guilt them to stop or whatever, like you're seen as more of a persecutor or a bullier instead of a challenger or an encourager. And so we really want to stay in that encouragement, challenging role and not kind of forego our opinions unless it's asked.
Well, and then again, that would perpetuate the victim.
Yes.
Because once you start coming in with, oh, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you're doing it wrong.
Yes.
Then they're like,
yeah. Then why? Then here's what happens. We perpetuate this defensiveless, helpless cycle where they can't even feel like they can make a decision on their own. They feel like they don't have any ability to live independently because they've depended on you for so much and you've been condemning them for maybe when they spoke out of turn or did something that you didn't like. So we don't want to fit into that. We want to empower. So the challenger.
the challenger.
There you go. Okay.
You can do it. That's what the challenger says.
All right. The next
The
one.
next one, rather than being a victim, we want to be a creator.
And so what does that mean?
So owning your power and able to choose and respond, focusing on options and outcomes, and ultimately problem solving rather than stepping back and not doing anything.
Just rolling over.
Right.
Yeah. And we do a lot of this in our office that we, you know, because they can sit there and complain all day about what's not happening or what people did to them. But then at the end of the day, we're going to like, okay, what are you going to do about it? Okay. Because I'm not a wallower. I won't wallow with you in this self-pity and this victimhood. And so we really get into this cycle that's so unhealthy that we're trying to help people get out of. And so we want you to be a creator. We want you to come up with solutions to the problems. I'll never forget, I had a boss at one time, and we used to do periodical reviews, and I would come to him, and he would ask about challenges, difficulties, and I would do a lot of complaining. And he would say, okay, from now on, you can't come to me with a problem unless you bring a possible solution. I was like, oh, you know, I just kind of want to wallow in it, you know, like I want to complain, I want to vent, you know. And he's like, no, this isn't what this is about. This is about how do we move forward? How do we fix the problem? And so I'll never forget that. That was probably, you know, 2 decades ago. So yeah, so the creator versus the victim.
Correct. Well, and I feel like you even really spoke to the coach, because this is what we do. So rather than the rescuer being the coach, and this is supporting and assisting without taking over. So asking questions and listening and encouraging and empowering. But, you know, I even think for this with our parents, you know, the parents with the adult children, and rather than rescuing, the coaching and how I will help these parents is presenting like options for their child, right? So this helps. That's another thing too, or at least if I could speak for my clients, you know, a lot of these adult children, they're at a younger age mentally, like they do need help. Like, so being able to step back with boundaries, but also provide options. Like, hey, have you tried this?
Yes. Right. Before you jump into that relationship, or, have you thought about that? Or what happens if you quit your job? Do you have money to pay your rent? Have you thought about that? So like you're helping them give options, but yet you're stepping back and you're not overpowering them with what you want or what you suggest. You're literally like, hey, you're an adult. It's up to you. Right. And so you really don't get in the middle of that drama. Like, one of my other favorite phrases is not my monkeys, not my circus. So it's not my yard, it's not my garbage. Like if you choose to quit your job and you don't have money to pay your car payment, you're going to lose your car. I'm not going to come in and rescue you, right? Like that was a decision I was trying to help you make before you quit your job. But ultimately, I'm not going to get in the middle of that. That's hard. That's hard for the rescuer.
It is hard. And that's where I notice the rescuer myself coming up when I'm trying to help these parents, because it's like, oh my gosh. But we learn from natural consequences, right? Yep. And the only way to do that is, rather than rescue, be a coach and step back. Don't try to take over, and you can still be supportive and help.
I think of this analogy, and I don't know where I heard it from. It's actually scientific, but I failed biology, so I wasn't listening in biology. But when you look at a forest of trees, and the forest is maybe tightly condensed, dense with trees, the trees on the outside are stronger in their root system than the ones on the inside. And why is that? Do you know?
I didn't pay attention in biology either.
Well, it's because that the inside has been protected from the wind. And so when you take away those outside trees, those inside ones fall with the first heavy rain because they were not protected and did not get that deep root system when it was growing. And so, part of our growth is the storm, is the winds that blow against us, and the trials and the conflicts we have in our life. And if we always are protecting and rescuing our children from trials, they're never going to grow a deep root system where they feel confident and secure in their decision making and their abilities, because we've always kind of protected them. So I find that interesting, because that is how God has allowed, that is why God has allowed us to have trials, because that is, and that's scripture, right? I think that's James 1, where it says, we will have trials, but because of that, I'm going to find that verse. So let me find that. So go on.
And well, as you find that, I think something I'd like to mention, when it comes to the victim, some people, they have been a victim. They have been victimized, right?
Yes.
You have had things happen to you. And we are not disregarding that or dismissing that.
No, we're not. No.
And I noticed that too, a lot of women I've worked with, if they tend to go into that victim role, and you look at their history, they have a reason.
Yeah.
But again, that's turning, rather than rescuing, and turning into the coach of helping them see what they can do for themselves to get out of that.
Yes, I agree. You can be victimized and not be a victim.
Right.
And so I'm so glad you said that, Meredith, because we're not dismissing the pain and the trauma you've experienced. Just because you've had trauma doesn't mean you have to stay in drama. Ooh, I like that. I just made that up. But
I do that. That gave me chills.
But it is true. Like we don't have to be the victim in our trauma, and that's where that PTSD comes, where it keeps haunting us and beating us up, and it gets us stuck in this drama triangle where God is like, that's not of me. So I found James chapter 1. I knew it was chapter 1, but it says, verse 2, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. That's really hard for people to even hear. Like, really? You want me to consider it joy? And what we were just saying is why. Because it says, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work. In other words, don't rescue or save people from their consequences. Let's finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. And that's that it's so entwined in scripture all over the place about that, and so that's what we lean on, is that God does go with us. He is in the middle of the storms. He's not going to let go of us. He is enough, and he can help us through that trial so it doesn't get us stuck in the drama. Yeah. Anything else in this drama triangle that you would want to mention before we close with the empowerment triangle?
I think, personally for me, I have been working on not being a rescuer. And what God's been speaking to me in that is, let me rescue you.
Oh, wow. Whew, I got chills.
So, there's reasons we fall into these roles, and it's because of things we've been through. Just like we spoke with the victim, we've gone through experiences. This is like learned behavior in a way,
Yes, absolutely.
And even going back to protecting ourselves. But yeah, that's something I've been trying to live through, of when I find myself rescuing, stepping back and
saying, what's in me?
Yes. What is in me that's driving this behavior?
So good. So good. And I think that's our own work that we have to do. It's like, what's the reaction coming out in me? Is it when I didn't feel protected or saved and rescued by somebody? Did someone in my past let me down, whether it be a parent, whether it be a boyfriend, whether it be a spouse? And so we've got to really see, we're sometimes reacting out of our own woundedness. And that's where this drama triangle comes from. And so when we can really step back and heal those wounds, right, then we can be empowered to handle conflict, to handle trials in a way that honors God, that is healthy in relationship, and honestly doesn't dismiss the power of the Lord. Like when we step in to be the rescuer, we're saying, God, we don't trust you.
Yeah.
Like we don't believe that you really have our back or know what's going on. So I'm going to come in and do that. Or I know what's better. And it's like, oh, nope, that doesn't work out so well, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Which is one of the biggest reasons why we do faith-based coaching, not licensed therapy, because we believe that transformational power comes from God and His Word. It doesn't come from some psychologist or some, philosopher you read about. It comes from God and His Word. And that is transformational. That is where we can be empowered and be confident in who we are in Christ, not in anything of ourselves, right? I mean, Paul said, without God, I'm nothing, but with God, all things are possible. And that's what we trust in. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you, Meredith, so much for the idea, because again, like I said, with the holidays coming up, there's some drama triangles that people literally, I've got in my office, women, and especially women, that are just literally such a nervous wreck about even approaching this holiday with family or friends because of the triangles that always occur. So let's make it an empowerment triangle. How about that? Let's be one of those challengers or creators or coaches where we really allow God to work in us and through us. And if there is help that you need because you find yourself stuck in the victimhood role or as the rescuer or maybe the bully, then seek help. Find out what's really going on underneath that mask that you're putting on or that facade that you're creating, and find out what it is that you are scared of or that has happened in your past.
Well, I want to just say too, the enemy wants us to stay in the drama triangle.
Yes, he does.
I can see the enemy all over all three of those roles.
Amen.
And yeah, there's better for us. And stepping in, being able to be aware of the drama triangle roles and how we are feeding into that.
Absolutely.
Is so important. And just like anything, until we can see where there needs to be change.
Yep.
We're not going to be able to make change.
Well, as you were saying that, I'm thinking of John 10:10, and I just pulled it up. The thief comes, the enemy, that's Satan. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come, Jesus says, that you may have life and life to the full. So you got a decision to make. Are you going to stay stuck in the drama and let the thief kill, steal, and destroy your joy and your peace and your relationships? Or are you going to live in the light, that you're going to walk with the Lord? You're going to be empowered to turn and surrender it over to Him and to feel that confidence, to experience that peace that only He can give us. I love that. You're right. The enemy would love for you to stay stuck in the drama.
Not today, Satan.
Not today. That's right. Get back from me, Satan. So I hope this has helped. Please, again, share the show. Put it out on social media, because maybe there's somebody in your family or friends that need to hear it. Maybe it's not you, but maybe there's someone else. And so I hope that this has been helpful. If we can help in any way, please give us a call at 812-576-ROCK. That's 812-576-7625. Or you can always reach out to us at rocksolidfamilies.org and just click the Contact Us button. So, Meredith, I love you. I'm so thankful you are on our team. You are doing amazing work for the kingdom. So do not let Satan get a hold.
Not today,
Satan. Not today, Satan. So thanks for listening to the Rock Solid Families podcast, building a stronger community, one family at a time. Make it a great day.
Rock Solid Families wants to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions for sponsoring the Rock Solid Families podcast. Casey's has grown to be one of the largest and most unique garden centers and gift shops in the Cincinnati tri-state area. Whether you are looking to take on that next landscape project or simply add a little home decor to your house, Casey's has you covered. Located at 21481 State Line Road, Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Call them today at 812-537-3800. Let Casey's help you add beauty to your home.